It's not only an honor to be with you in Singapore, but it's a terrific honor to be with a great company. Nu Skin is a great company. Very, very good. And I so wonderfully appreciate them and their leadership and their desire to develop you, their desire to grow you and make you a wonderful leader. So I'm just very excited to be here with you, very excited to be with Nu Skin. What a great opportunity for every one of you to develop a business, to develop relationships, to grow yourself, to grow others, add value to people. It's incredible. So grab a seat, please. As you grab your seat, I'm going to start in about a minute. So just do me a favor. We'll get going, okay? While we're getting seated and coming in, let me introduce you to myself. My name is John, and I'm your friend, okay? And I'm here today to add value to you and teach you and help you to build your life, to build your business. My wife, Margaret, and I have been married for 47 years. We have 2 children, and we have 5 grandchildren, okay? And grandchildren are God's gift to you for not killing your children, okay? You just gotta let them live. If you let them live, they'll give you grandchildren, okay? And when they give you grandchildren, the very first day you hold your first grandchild, you just basically look at this baby and you say, this is the most beautiful, smartest baby ever born. You just know this, no one has to tell you. And then you ask yourself the question, why did intelligence skip a generation? I was telling that story to a large convention, and my son Joel was in the audience, and I forgot he was in the audience. And I talked about intelligence skipping a generation. So after I went back to the green room, after I spoke, he was there, and I said, Joel, you know I was kidding about intelligence skipping a generation. He said, no, Dad, it's okay. He said, I think you're right. I said, you do? He said, yes, I think you're right. He said, just last week, Grandpa and I had that very same discussion. I'm 67. And I just want you to know that when you turn 60, you just become wise, okay? And you don't become wise until then, but you just become wise. And so when you get to my age, you understand life like you've never understood it before. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read something to you that explains life to you like you've never had life explained to you before. So hang on, listen to this, enjoy it, and this will kind of teach you about life, okay? In fact, look at your neighbor and say to them, you're about to understand life. Go ahead and tell them that right now. You're about to understand. Okay, here we go. On the first day, God created the dog. God said, sit all day by the door of your house and bark at anybody that walks by. I'm going to give you a lifespan of 20 years. And the dog said, that's too long to be barking. Give me 10 years and I'll give you back the other 10. And God agreed. On the second day, God created the monkey. God said, entertain people, do monkey tricks, make them laugh. I'll give you a 20-year lifespan. The monkey said, how boring. Monkey tricks for 20 years? I don't think so. The dog gave you back 10 years. So I'll do that too, okay? And God agreed. On the third day, God created the cow. God said, you must go out in the field with the farmer all day long, suffer under the sun, have calves, get milk to support the farmer. I'm going to give you a lifespan of 60 years. The cow said, that's kind of a tough life you want me to live for 60 years. Let me have 20, I'll give you back the other 40. God agreed. On the fourth day, God created man. God said, eat, sleep, play, marry, enjoy your life. I'm going to give you 20 years. He said, what? Only 20 years? I'll take what? I'll take my 20, add the 40 the cow gave you back, the 10 the monkey gave you back, the 10 the dog gave you back. That makes 80, okay, God said. You've got a deal. So that is why the first 20 years of our lives, we eat, sleep, play, enjoy ourselves. For the next 40 years, we slave in the sun to support our family. For the next 10 years, we do monkey tricks to entertain the grandchildren. And for the last 10 years, we sit on the front porch and we bark at everyone that goes by. You just had life explained to you. I have one day with you, and I want to make this day really count in your life. At the end of this day, I want you to be able to say, the things that I shared with you help you become a better person, help you become a better leader, help you become better in new skin, help you to build your business, help you to build your team, and help you to grow yourself and help you to grow others. And this is a big agenda. And if you were to come and sit beside me and say, John, if I'm going to be successful in life, and I'm going to be successful with new skin, if I'm going to be really successful, would there be some advice that you would want to give me? Is there something that you would say to me that would just help me do well in this business? What I would share with you is two things. I would share with you that if you want to be successful in this business, if you want to be successful in life, there are two things that you want to be able to do, and you want to be able to do them very well. The first is you need to develop yourself. You need to develop yourself as a person, and you need to develop yourself as a leader. Your ability to develop yourself will determine your ability to develop others. So number one, I would say you need to grow yourself and develop yourself. And secondly, I would say that you need to develop people that are around you. And if you can do those two things, I promise you, you can be highly successful. And it's those two things that I want to spend the entire day with you working on. Developing you as a person and a leader. And then helping you develop the team and the leaders that are around you. And those are the keys to being successful in life. And this morning, we're going to deal with how do I develop myself as a leader? What do I need to develop me? And the reason that is so important is because you can only develop others to the extent that you develop yourself. So I can't grow you more than I've grown me. I can't develop you more than I've developed me. I cannot take you further in your journey than I traveled myself. So developing others, being a leader, growing your company and your business is all determined by your ability and my ability to develop ourselves. It's essential for your success. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about this morning. How do you develop yourself as a leader? How does that happen? Now, I wrote a book about 16 years ago that's the best-selling leadership book ever written in the world. It's called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. It's become the leadership source and foundation for leaders around the world. It's sold millions of copies, and it's in 57 languages around the world. In fact, that book is in more languages in the world than any other book. And the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership really is foundational for you to develop yourself as a leader. In fact, they have in the arena, they have some of my books. The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership is out there. And I would encourage you, during this conference sometime, go out, pick it up, because this is foundational in you learning how to lead yourself. Now, I want to talk to you about two of those 21 laws. And those two laws that I want to talk to you about is foundational for you in developing yourself as a leader. The first law is the law of the lid, L-I-D. And the law of the lid just simply says, how well you lead determines how well you succeed. In other words, your leadership ability is going to determine everything about your success in this business. Your ability to lead yourself, your ability to lead others, is going to determine what level you arrive at and achieve in New Skin. This is an unbelievable law, the law of the lid. Let me visually teach this to you this morning for a couple of minutes. If this hand represents my leadership, and this hand represents my business, New Skin, whatever level of leadership that I have in ability, whatever this level is, wherever this lid is, that determines the size of my business. So from a 1 to a 10, if my leadership lid is a 5, my business will come under that leadership lid, but cannot rise higher than that lid. In other words, if my leadership ability is a 5, my business will be a 4. My leadership determines the size of my business. And that's true in New Skin, that's true in any direct selling organization, that's true in any corporate environment, that's true in any educational environment. The law of the lid works in government, it works in education, it works in business, it works in religion. It is an indisputable law that how well you lead determines how well you succeed. So, if I'm a 5-level leader, if I'm an average leader, that means that my business will only be a little below average. It will only be a 4. And what it means is that my business cannot grow as long as I have this leadership lid. In the history of the world, it's never happened before and it never will happen, where an organization has an average leadership and the company goes around the leadership lid and continues to grow with average leaders. It doesn't happen. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything. That's a fact. Your ability to lead determines your ability to succeed. Of course they are. Think about that question. I've never met an unborn leader. And I don't particularly want to either. Don't particularly want to. Now, what they're really asking are not, are leaders born? What they're really asking, are there some people when they're born, they have natural leadership skills, and so they go right to the top, and some people, they just don't, and so they don't go to the top. What I want you to understand today, because this is very important to me, it's very important to you, by the way. What I want you to understand is this. You can develop yourself as a leader. You can grow as a leader. There's no such thing as a person who doesn't have some leadership potential. You could become a better leader tomorrow than you are today, but you have to be focused and intentional on doing that. And all morning long, I'm going to teach you how to develop yourself as a leader. All morning long, I'm going to teach you how to get better as a leader. You're going to learn these principles that can change your life. In fact, look at the person you're seated beside and say to them, even you can become a better leader. Tell them that right now. In fact, look at them and say, that's why I brought you. So you can develop yourself as a leader. Now look back up and let me visually teach this again, okay? Look right back up here. If I am from a 1 to a 10, I'm an average leader, I'm a 5. That means my business in New Skin, in any company, will be a 4. It never can rise higher as long as I have that leadership lid. But the good news is, we've just mentioned, that you can grow and develop yourself as a leader. In other words, if you will be consistent and intentional, you can become a better leader tomorrow than you are today. So what does that mean? If I'm a 5 as a leader, I have potential to grow to be maybe a 6 or a 7, or maybe an 8. Now, the moment that I raise my leadership lid, what happens to my business? My business now has room to go from a 4 to a 5 to a 6 to a 7. The moment I raise my leadership lid is the moment I raise my potential for building my business. So it's essential for every one of us to understand that the greatest thing that you can do for your success tomorrow is to commit to developing yourself as a leader today. That's why I travel the world teaching leadership. That's why I write books on leadership. Because I have discovered that if I can teach people to develop themselves and become a better leader, their entire business will prosper and grow and thrive. And that's what we're dealing with today. Developing yourself as a leader. How do I become better at leading? And you can grow. Every one of you in here can grow as a leader. You have still growth potential, but you've got to be intentional. You've got to be committed to developing yourself as a leader. The second law that I want to talk to you briefly about in the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership is the law of process. And the law of process says, leaders develop daily, not in a day. If you're going to develop yourself as a leader, you have to be committed to doing it on a daily basis. It's a process. And many people, they don't understand this. When I was 26, I heard Earl Nightingale say that if you would spend 1 hour every day on a certain given subject for 5 years, in 5 years you could become an expert on that subject. Now I'm in my mid-20s and I'm wanting to learn to be a better leader. So I made a commitment. I made a commitment that every day for 1 hour I would study the subject of leadership. I would read leadership books, I would talk to leaders, I would ask them questions, I would learn from leaders, I would go to leadership events. What I discovered is you never become an expert in leadership. I mean, I've been teaching leadership, I've written over 100 books. I'm known as the leadership leader of the world as far as teaching and writing. But I'm not an expert on leadership. I'm still learning, I'm still growing. What I discovered is the more you know you don't know. And the more you know you don't know, the more room you have to know more. And so I started this journey of every day spending 1 hour a day on the subject of leadership. Now at the end of 5 years, I was developing myself well. But I also realized that I had to continue to grow myself. Now, throughout the day, I'll be teaching you how to continually grow yourself. What's the secret for me to be successful in life? What's the secret for me to really do well and achieve in life? My answer to you would be very simple. The secret of your success, the secret of my success, the secret of every person's success is determined by what we do daily. That's the secret of success. In other words, every day, I'm either doing things that make me successful, or I'm doing things that don't allow me to be successful. Every day, I'm either preparing or repairing. Every day, I'm either preparing myself to be better for tomorrow, or I'm repairing and fixing something I did wrong yesterday. Today matters. And when people think of success, they think of things that are very difficult or have a longevity. And I just want you to know that success for you, success for me, is determined by what we do daily. Now, I'll come back to that later. I just want to put that seed thought down in your mind. That what you do every day is either making you or breaking you. And there are certain things that you do on a daily habit that if you do them, they serve you well and you become very successful. And there are certain things that if you don't do, you won't be successful. What we do is we overestimate the event and we underestimate the process. This happens all the time. People come to a convention just like this, and you're here, and you're saying, wow, I'm going to study David John Maxwell, and he'll teach me how to develop myself, and he'll teach me how to develop others, and we're going to learn leadership, and this is going to be absolutely amazing. And I watch people as they get really excited about an event. And what I tell them is, events are important. I'm glad you're here. But being here today with me is not going to make you a great leader. It's more than just an event. It's more than reading a book. Leadership has to be developed on a daily basis. You see, it's not what you do while you're here that makes you successful at New Skin. It's what you do when you leave that makes you successful for New Skin. Your success is going to be based on what you do daily. Because there are some things that are the right things to do, there are some things that are the wrong things to do. And if you do the right things daily, what happens is, day in, day out, it begins to compound. And when you can compound, day in, day out, things that you're doing right, it begins to be a beautiful thing and give you great success. So the law of process is a beautiful law. And basically it says to you, and it says to me, that if we do the right thing daily, every day, we will grow as a leader. That's the law of process. Now I give you that because I'm about to teach you a 5-level process to developing yourself as a leader. And what you're going to discover as I teach this to you today is you're going to discover that leadership isn't one thing, it's many things. And leadership isn't something you do in one day. And what I would like you to do, because it's not possible on the screen because of the way the screen is designed, it's impossible for me to visually give this to you like I would like. Picture in your mind with me for a moment 5 steps. And each step goes higher. You got your first step, and then second step, third step, fourth step, and 5th step. In fact, on a piece of paper, I would like you to put those 5 steps on a piece of paper. Would you do that for me now? Because in a moment, I'm going to start on level 1. And I'm going to take the next hour, maybe more, to take you from level 1 to level 2, to level 3, to level 4, to level 5. And visually, I want you to have it. So put it on paper. I can't get it on the screen for you the way I would like you to see it. So we're going to have to do this on your paper, okay? But that's okay, that'll work. So put down right now, just kind of put the 5 steps, and I'm going to fill these steps with you and teach you how to go from step 1 to step 5 as leader. So I see you doing it, so do that right now on a piece of paper. Get your 5 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And what I'll do in a moment is I'll start taking you through these steps. We'll start together at level 1, which is the lowest level, and we'll begin to build ourselves up to level 5. Now what I can do on the screen is I can begin to give you these levels step by step, and we're going to try that. I'm not sure where I point this. I'm going to guess if I point it there, it happens. Okay? Okay. Somebody's going to help me. I have to assume I'm on level 1 here. Is that true? Talk to me. Am I on level 1? I have no idea. Take it back. I just press green. Okay. Back. Is this the 5 levels here? Okay, good. Now the gentleman helping me here, that's Mark Cole. Mark is the CEO of the 5 companies that I founded, and he runs everything for me, okay? So Mark is the brains He works hard and he's the brains. I just go around speaking, okay? Okay, so Mark's the guy. Now, this is the 5 levels of leadership. Did we get to the level 1 already? I cannot tell. Is this level 1? Okay, position. I'm not doing this. Somebody's moving for me. Okay, that'll be good. Okay. Level number 1, okay, is the position level. That's where we begin our journey of leadership. This is where we start. Everybody starts by getting a leadership position. With New Skin, when you join this organization, they sit down, they tell you the basics about the organization, they give you some resources that will help you become successful, and basically they put you on level number 1. This is where you get started, and they give you the opportunity to lead. They give you a position of leadership. Now, at this level, people follow you because they have to. At this level, the people follow you because they have to. In other words, you're the boss, you're the leader, and so they kind of get in line, and you're over them, and you're up line, and whatever. And so they follow you because they have to. Now, what I want you to understand is this is where we begin, level 1. We get a leadership position. Now, let me tell you what's wonderful about this position. What's wonderful about this is this gives us the chance to start leading. Now that we have a leadership position, we get to practice our leadership skills. We'll be good at some things, we'll not be good at some things. This can be a wonderful time in your life because it's your first opportunity to lead other people. And the way you learn to lead is by practicing leadership. So it's a good thing to start here. It's a wonderful thing to have a position that allows you to practice leadership. This is where we begin. The challenge is this. Most people think that once they have the position of a leader, that means that they're a good leader. That's not true. Just because you have the opportunity to lead, it doesn't really mean that you're a good leader. It just means you got the opportunity. Most people think that the position of leadership means that they're a good leader. It does not. It just means that you have an opportunity to lead. It means you have an opportunity to practice leadership. It means you get an opportunity to try things out. You get an opportunity to grow as a leader. When I started off on level number 1, it was a wonderful thing for me because it just gave me an opportunity to try out my leadership development and my leadership skills. It was a wonderful thing. But what you have to understand is just because you have a leadership title, just because you have a leadership position, doesn't mean that you're a good leader. My favorite leadership proverb is, "He that thinketh he leadeth, and hath no one following him, is only taking a walk." And I know all kind of people taking walks. They have a leadership title, they have a leadership position, but they don't influence people, they don't lead people, they don't bring people with them. But this is where we start. We start on level number 1. This is the beginning for us. It's a good place to begin. It's not a good place to stay. And here's why. If you are a positional leader, the people only follow you because they don't have any choice. They're under you. That doesn't make you a good leader. That doesn't tell you how well you influence people, how well you motivate people, how well you add value to help people. That doesn't tell you at all. All it tells you is people are following you because they have to. They have no choice. I see this happen all the time. I see people having leadership positions and thinking that somehow the position makes them a good leader. It doesn't. It just gives you an opportunity to learn how to lead. It's a good place to start. It's not a good place to stay. And here's why. When people only follow you because they have to, You have to understand. They won't give you a lot of energy, and they won't give you a lot of time, and they won't give you a lot of commitment. They're just doing the things they have to do to follow. You lose energy. You lose a lot of mental time and thinking from the people because they're not committed to you. They're following you because they have no choice. That's the reason that organizations many times never grow. Because the leaders are positional. And the leaders say, hey, I'm the leader, you're the follower, you have to follow me. So the people follow, but they only follow as little as they possibly can. They're not following with their heart, they're not following with their mind, they're not giving 100%. And if people are not giving you their best, their leadership will never prosper, and neither will yours. They won't grow. People that are positional leaders, here's the key. People that are positional leaders, they never develop other leaders. They just develop followers. And if you just develop followers, you'll never be able to reproduce yourself, you'll never be able to reproduce your organization, you'll never be able to equip people, you'll never be able to empower people. All you'll have is followers. And at level number one, you have just followers because they have to follow you. And the energy level is very low because they're not following you by choice, they're following you because you are upline, you're over them, they have really no choice. Now, that's level number one. This is where it begins. But this isn't where it should stay. Every one of you here today, you're already a level one leader. The question is not, are you a level one leader? The question is, would you become a level two leader? Because as you go up each level and develop yourself more, you become more influential and you become more effective in your leadership. So let's go to level number two for a moment, okay? On level number two, this level is the permission level. At level number two, the key word is relationships. Now, why do they want to follow you? Because as you grow as a leader, if you get to level number two, you have more than a title or a position leading people. When you get to level number two, you're now developing relationships. People now are following you because they like you. And not only do they like you, you like them. Now, what happens at level two? The biggest difference between level one and level two is that when you connect with people and you relate to people, what happens, this is beautiful, is that they want to follow you. No longer are they doing so because you're upline, they're doing so because they like you. Because you connect with them. Because you're meeting their needs, because you care for them, because you're developing a relationship with them. So what happens is the energy increases. The greatest benefit between a one-level leader and a two-level leader is a two-level leader gets a lot more energy from his or her people. And once you get energy from people, things begin to really do well for you. Now, they'll give you extra time. They'll give you extra effort. They'll give you their mind. They'll do the things that allow you to build a successful team. Remember this, you can only develop a successful team if you get a lot of energy from your team. And you can only get a lot of energy from your team if your players like you and you like them. At this level, level number two, you're beginning to connect with your people. Now, the question is, how do you and I do level two really well? Now, I'm going to give you three things that level two leaders do exceptionally well, okay? Because I want you all to become a level two leader. And if you do these three things consistently every day, remember, the secret of your success is what you do daily. If you do these three things every day, trust me, you'll become a level two leader. The first thing that level 2 leaders do very well is that they listen. Level 2 leaders are great listeners. I wrote a book recently entitled Good Leaders Ask Great Questions. And it's one of the most important books I've ever written on leadership because most people don't understand how leadership really works. Most people think that leadership works by giving direction to people, by casting vision to people, by telling people where to go and what to do and how to get there. And most people think of leadership as people that kind of just tell people what to do. Now I want you to understand, if you want to be a successful leader, one of the first things you're going to understand is you lead most effectively by asking questions. And here's why. You have to find your people before you can lead your people. So the first responsibility of a leader isn't to lead anybody. The first responsibility of a leader is to find the people they're going to lead. And you find the people you're going to lead by asking questions. And when you ask questions, there's an assumption that you're asking questions to listen, to learn, so that you can lead. In other words, I'm asking you questions as a leader to find you. Where are you? Who are you? How can I help you? The only way that I know that I can help you is by finding you. You see, managers lead everybody the same, but leaders lead everybody different. And leaders lead everybody different because leaders understand that people have different reasons for following. So what I need to do as a leader is to find you. Now, once I find you, I can lead you. But when I ask questions of you, what I'm doing is I'm listening and then I'm learning. In fact, here's the way it works of a level 2 leader. Leaders listen to what people want till they understand where their people are living and what their people's goals are, and their dreams are, what their temperament is. All these things that you've got to know as a leader to lead people effectively. The great leaders, their leadership cues are based on knowing who their people are, what their people want. So they listen, they learn, and then they lead. They walk slowly through the crowd. And they get their leadership ideas and their leadership thoughts from where the people are, and what the people are saying, and what the people are asking. You can always tell an immature leader from a mature leader. An immature leader leads by giving direction and casting vision. A mature leader leads by asking questions. I was just in New York City and I was being interviewed by the press, and they asked me, they said, John, what's the difference between being a leader in your 30s and being a leader in your 60s? I said, it's very simple. When I was a young leader, I just told people what to do. But now that I've become a mature leader, I ask them questions. And I'm still going to give you vision, and I'm still going to give you direction. But now when I give you vision and direction, it's going to be based on where they are, what they know, what they're saying, what they're thinking. Now all of my direction is going to be based upon where they are, not where I am. Listen very carefully to me. If you're going to lead successfully, and you're going to be a level 2 leader, you don't lead people based upon what you think. You lead people based upon what they think. You don't lead people based upon where you are. You lead people based upon where they are. You don't lead people based on your journey. You lead people based upon their journey. You find them. And once you find them, then you can lead them. But you can't lead them until you find them. And you can't find them until you ask questions and listen and learn. And then you lead. That's a level 2 leader. A level 2 leader does 3 things well. Number 1, they listen very well. The second thing that level 2 leaders do very well, they not only listen very well, they observe very well. They watch the people that they're leading. And the reason that they watch the people that they're leading, the reason that they are strong in observation, is they understand a basic leadership principle. The basic leadership principle is very simple. It's not what people say to you that determines how good they're going to be. It's what people do that determines how good they're going to be. Words are very cheap. It's easy to say I'm going to build a business and do scaling. I'm going to do, hey, words are so cheap, but you don't lead based upon what your people say. You lead based upon what your people do. And so it's the observation of the people. Don't tell me what you're going to do. Show me what you're going to do. I tell my people all the time that I'm leading, don't tell me that you're going to build a business. Just go show me that you're going to build a business. I want to see you. I want to watch you. It's your behavior that determines your effectiveness, not your words. And if it's your behavior that determines your effectiveness, not your words, then what I need to do as a leader is I need to observe your behavior. Because it's in that everything counts. Let me just take a moment and pull this out for you, okay? Vision is very important for leadership. Casting vision, where the company's going, what we're going to do, what our goals are, very important. So I'm not anti-vision when I teach this, but listen to me carefully. There's something 100 times more important than vision to build a company. Vision just says this is where we're going. If you want to build a great organization, if you want to build a great team, put a lot more emphasis upon culture, not vision. Culture eats vision for life. It's easy for us to come to this New Skin conference with thousands of people, and you meet every couple of years here, and you come together and talk about the business, and you come together to kind of show off all the good things you're doing, let the people see the ones that are really producing. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But let me tell you something. It basically has very little to do with your success at all. Your success isn't going to be how happy you get here or how many times you stand up and clap and cheer. It ain't going to do anything in your business. The only thing that's going to do anything in your business is if you go back to your home, wherever that is, or your community, and you actually do it. You got to do it. It's the behavior. That's how you're going to be successful in this business. It isn't what you say to your upline here, oh, I'm going to go build a business. That means absolutely nothing until you go build a business. And culture is the behavior. It's the value system of an organization that fleshes out what the vision is. The greatest way to tell how good you're going to be is not what you say, but what you say. And because that is true, what do leaders do? Leaders at level 2, they're always watching and observing. And the reason they're watching and observing is they know that your behavior is going to indicate to them, listen to me, how much time you should spend with them. For example, I tell all my people, I love all of you. I love you all unconditionally. I've got you on the team. Rah, rah, rah. So every one of you get my love, but you have to earn my time. You do understand, I love you all. But the only one that I'm going to give my time commitment to are those that are doing it, that are practicing it. I'm not going to give my time to people who are talking about doing it. There's no return in talk. There's only return in behavior. And level 2 leaders understand this, and so what they do is they observe their people. And why do they observe their people? Because by observing their people, they know how much time to spend with those people and what to do when they spend that time with them. So they're always watching their people. They're observing. They're listening. They're walking slowly through the crowd. Level number 2, they're constantly connecting, but they're connecting with their ears, they're connecting with their eyes. They're observing, they're watching. And the third thing that level number 2 leaders do really, really well is they serve really well. They connect with people not only because they love their people, but because they have a servant attitude toward their people. They're not positional in their thinking, and they're not positional in their leading. And what they do is they come alongside of their people. And yes, there are times they're in front of their people as a leader, but most of the time they're not in front of their people. Most of the time, they're beside their people. And they're walking with their people. They're experiencing with their people. They're sharing with their people. And so they realize that to do this relationally, what you do is you don't stand over your people. You stand beside your people. You don't walk in front of people, you walk with your people. And in walking with them and standing beside them, you're constantly mentoring, teaching, connecting, relating, identifying where those people are. You see, when you become a level 2 leader, you can tell you become a level 2 leader because relationships with your people is more important than your position over your people. So when you lead relationally, you don't lead positionally. Because if you've got to tell people that you're the boss, you're not. If you have to insist everything comes from you, it's not going to come from you and be effective in working with them. So level 2 leaders really understand that they've got to serve their people. And what does that mean? Well, what that means is Mark Cole is my CEO and he oversees my 5 companies. And every day I ask Mark, how can I serve you? What can I do for you? What can I do to lighten your load? Is there something that you need me to do to help you? Now, I'm the founder of the companies, I'm the owner of the company, but my first response to him is always not how do I tell you what to do or run your life or oversee you. My first thing is how can I help you? What can I do to serve you? And I always smile and introduce myself and tell my name is John and I'm their friend. And I always ask them, sit down with me for a moment, just sit here. And when they sit down beside me, I look at them and I say, now, let me explain a couple things to you. Number one, you don't work for me. Nobody works for me. Now, you work with me, and I work with you, and we work together, and we partner, but you don't work for me. I don't have slaves. You work with me. We work together. And I want you to understand that. Because I'm going to get the best out of you by connecting with you. And I'm going to connect with you by caring for you. You see, there are 3 questions that followers ask about their leaders. 3 questions. A few years ago, when I did the opening ceremonies at the United Nations in New York, they asked me to come. And for the first 2 hours, as they opened the season at the United Nations, to spend 2 hours teaching and leadership to the ambassadors of the world. And so I asked myself as I prepared for that 2-hour talk, what can I do that will connect with all the different cultures, all the different countries, all the different personalities? What is it that I can say to them? What is it that I can share with them in leadership that will connect with every one of them? And that day, for 2 hours, I did a lesson called 3 Things That Followers Ask of Their Leaders. And those 3 things that I gave the ambassadors of the United Nations are the 3 things I'm giving you right now. Because if people are following you into the skin of the business, there are 3 questions they're asking about you. This is universal. It covers every culture. By the way, the reason the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership has sold so many millions of copies, it covers every culture. They're laws, and the laws work regardless of culture. These three questions that followers ask of their leaders, these three questions, trust me, if people are following you in this business, they're asking these three questions about you as a leader. And the reason I'm going to give them to you, the reason you need to know them, is that once you know these three questions, it will begin to change how you lead people. So let me give you the three questions. If somebody is following you in New Skin, right now, the first question they ask when they join your team is, do you like me? Do you like me? I mean, if I'm going to go into this as a little business and maybe make it my life's business, I just want to like the person that's going to lead me. I just want them to be likable. I just want them to, if I'm going to get on the team, I want it to be an enjoyable experience. And if you don't like me, why would I want to be on your team? Or if you're not likable, why would I want to be on your team? So this whole relational connection begins with the fact that people like you. And what's amazing to me in this kind of business, in this kind of people business that you're in, what amazes me is the people that are in this business and they're not likable. Oh my gosh. I just look at somebody and say, hello, my name's John, I'm your friend, and I just want to sit down at the table with you, and I just want you to be across from the table, and I just want to say, let me help you, let me explain something to you. You're in a people business. I know New Skin is the business, but you'll only be good at New Skin if people like you, and if you like people. And my name is John, and I'm your friend. And people don't like you. I see it happen all the time. I just want to walk up to them and say, you have no hope. You have no shot at this until you learn to smile. I can still remember when I was in the second grade one day, I looked in the mirror and I saw my face. And I said, oh, John, do I like them? Do they like me? If you don't like them or they don't like you, they're not going to hang. They're going to be gone. They're going to leave. Trust me. I'm loving watching you. All of you are smiling more than you were a moment ago. It's good. You look good. The first question is, do they like me? The second question, can they help me? In other words, if I follow you, are you going to help me? Is it going to get better for me? Is my life going to get better? Am I going to get more successful? Why would I follow you? Why would I follow anyone that can't help me? Where's the joy of following somebody that they're not good? That's the reason you need to be good in this business, is because that's the only way people are going to be able to follow you, is if you're good. Because that's the only way you can help them. If you're not any good at it, you're not going to help any people. If you're bad, they're going to be bad. Can you help me? And the third question, can I trust you? Are you a trustworthy person? If I follow you, will you do what's right for me? Or are you going to cheat me? Are you going to do something that hurts me? Are you trustworthy? You see, the first question, do you like me? That's all about compassion. The second question, can you help me? That's all about competence. The third question, can I trust you? That's all about character. Isn't it interesting? Two of those three questions that followers ask of their leaders are level 2 questions. Do you like me? That's a level 2 question. Can I trust you? That's a level 2 question. And to be a level 2 leader, you've got to be trustworthy. You've got to enjoy the people, and you've got to have a servant's attitude. And it all begins when you every day. Somebody asked me the other day, says, "What does a servant leader do?" A servant leader every day adds value to his or her people. When you are serving your people, you're making them better every day. You're adding value to them every day. And your first thought is, every day, how can I add value to you? How can I make you better? How can I help you? Now, there are 3 ways to add value to people. If you're going to be a servant leader, and you want to add value to people on a daily basis, there are 3 things that you've got to do really well to do that. Number 1 is you've got to value your people. You've got to value the people that you lead. This is huge. You've got to value your people. When you stop loving your people, you should stop leading your people. Because when you stop loving and valuing the people that you lead, you'll begin to take advantage of them. You'll begin to manipulate them. This is always wrong in any business. Manipulating people is when you move people for your personal advantage. In other words, it helps you, but it doesn't help them. And when you devalue people, when you don't truly value people, that's what you'll do. You'll manipulate them, you'll move them together for your advantage, you'll get a lot out of them, but they won't get anything out of you. You put yourself before them. That's devaluing people. And the foundation for you leading people is you've got to value them. Because there's a very, very small line that you cross between when you value people and put them first, and when you begin to value yourself and put yourself first. It's a very, very small line that's easy to cross over. You just got to love the people that you lead. So, if you want to really add value to people, it begins, number 1, by just valuing people, period. I value every one of you. That's the reason I'm here. Here's what I do. I value you. That's why I'm here in Singapore. Trust me. I didn't come to Singapore because I needed another airline trip. In my lifetime, I've flown millions and millions of miles. Trust me, I didn't get excited about getting on a plane and flying for 24 hours to Singapore. There's nothing exciting about that, okay? Nothing exciting. So I'm not here because I wanted to take a trip. Wow. Ooh, I maybe could meet the pilot of a happy day. I'm not here because of that. I'm not here because I need to speak one more time. I've spoken 12,000 times, okay? So I don't need to I think if I can just speak one more time, I get it, you know what I mean? I can really get it. No. I didn't come here because I needed a speaking opportunity, and I didn't come here because I needed money. I got a lot of money, okay? Well, I do. I haven't been that way, but I got a lot of money. I've sold 26 million books. Do the math. Okay? I'm okay financially. So you say, John, if you did get excited about the trip, I've been to Singapore dozens of times. If you did get excited about the trip, you didn't get excited about speaking, you get excited about the money, why are you here? Well, it's very simple. I'm excited about 2 things. I'm excited about you and how valuable you are. And I'm excited about my message, how valuable it is. You see, I value you as a person, but I value your potential as a person just as much. And I know that if I can teach you leadership today, and if I can help you to develop yourself as a leader and learn these 5 levels of leadership and work your way through the process of time and years up these 5 levels, I know what I'll do for your life. I know what I'll do for New Skin. But more than just the company, I know what I'll do for you. I value New Skin. It's a fabulous company. I can tell you right now, if you belong to this company, you're a gravy, okay? You're a good kid. Okay? I value the company. In fact, I wouldn't even be here if I didn't value the company. I don't even speaker. Trust me, I get enough invitations. I can say no to as many as I want. So I don't even come unless I really love the company, and I love New Skin. I think it's a terrific idea. But I also came because I value you. I value who you are. I mean, it's a person. And if what I teach you today begins to add value and make sense to you, then I'm happy. That my payment is that I added value to you. And I do that because I value. Number two, there's three ways to add value to people. Remember, and we're still in this relational, this lovely kind of a leader that connects with the people. The second reason that I value, the second way that I add value to you is that I make myself more valuable. In other words, very simply, I get better. And if I get better, guess what I can do for you? I can make you better. But if I don't get better, I can't make you better. So the whole issue of adding value to you is that I have to keep growing. I have to keep learning. So that I'm always teaching you out of what I'm learning. Not just out of yesterday. Some leaders, all they can do is lead out of yesterday because they're not learning today. And I understand that. So the reason that I keep coming to organizations and companies is because I keep learning, I keep growing, I keep writing books, I keep adding, because every day I grow. Why? Because I'm committed to personal growth. We'll talk about that this afternoon. Personal growth, helping people grow. We're going to talk about that. But the key is this. If I'm going to add value to you on a daily basis, guess what I have to do? I have to personally get better on a daily basis. That's why leaders that are at the top can't stay flat. They have to keep going. They can't become satisfied. The only way I can help you tomorrow is learn something today. If I'm not learning something today, I have nothing to give you tomorrow. And when I watch leaders settle and get satisfied and say, wow, I'm kind of at the top and I'm making a lot of money, and I look at them and say, that isn't the reason you're supposed to be a leader. You're supposed to be a leader to help people. No way you can help people is keep learning, keep growing. And so I've got to get better every day. If I'm going to add value to you, I've got to value you, and I've got to get better today. I've got to grow myself because I cannot give you what I do not have. We teach what we know, but we reproduce who we are. And if I'm going to give you what I have, I've got to keep going. I've got to keep learning. Wow. It never stops for me. And it should never stop for any leader. When you stop loving people, you should stop leading people. And when you stop learning, you should stop leading people. The only right that I have to lead you tomorrow is that I learned something today that I can give you tomorrow that will make you better. And if I can't give you something that will make you better tomorrow, I should stop leading you and let somebody else have a shot at it. So I add value to you by valuing you, making myself more valuable. And thirdly, I add value to you by knowing and relating to what you value. This goes back to this level 2 leader who's listening all the time. The way that I add value to you is to get on your page, not on my page, to sing your song, not my song. To find out where you are, not to tell you where I am. And the only way that I can do that, is to listen to you until I know what you value, because what you value is how I'll lead you. I'll lead you according to what you value, not what I value, what you know, not what I know, what you need, not what I need. Leaders understand. You've got to get away from yourself. I'm going to go to level 3 in a moment. Let me just give one quick visual teaching to this, and then I'll move on. Now, in the States, I don't know if this happens in Asia at all, so if the illustration will still work, but I'm not sure. There's an expression in the States that leaders often say, and the expression is, it's lonely at the top. Now, is this an expression you're used to hearing? How many of you have heard the expression? Raise your hand if you've heard the expression. It's lonely at the top. Oh, a lot of you, okay. So this, okay, a lot of you, okay. And in America, in the States, it's kind of like the leader. It's kind of like the leader's on top of the mountain. And he or she is looking down at all the people down below. And they're going, oh my, look at it. Look at it. Look at those people. Lord, slowly to talk. Slowly to talk. Now, a leader never said that. If you think it's lonely at the top, I've got a question. See, leaders never say it's lonely at the top for one reason. If you're at the top all alone, no one's following you. The job of a leader isn't to be lonely. That's not your job. If you're lonely, it's not because you're a leader. If you're lonely, it's because you have a personality disorder. You've got other issues. They're not leadership issues. You need a counselor. Because what do leaders do? I can tell you exactly what leaders do. If leaders are at the top and they don't have their people with them, the first thing they do is they get off the top. They get off the top. And the reason they get off the top is they know that they have one responsibility to the leader, and that's to connect with the people. And what they do is they get down to where the people are, and they walk slowly through the crowd, and they connect with the people. And then, when they go to the top, guess what they do? They take their people with them. And if the people kind of stop here, they stop here for a moment, and gather them a little bit more, and they take them, and they keep bringing them along. They bring them along. If you're at the top all alone of a mountain, you're not a leader, you're a hiker. You don't want to be a hiker. You want to be a leader. By the way, that's why it takes a while to get to the top. Because you're bringing people with you. Leaders never cross the finish line first. Never. Because they take people with them. And if I take people with me, I've got to slow my pace. People aren't going to be as fast as me. So I slow my pace. I take them. See, the person that finishes first in a race, they ran alone. They didn't have anybody to wait on. They didn't have any responsibility to anybody. They just didn't care. They just got up and ran. But leaders, they get their people. They say, come on, let's go. And you know a leader. You know how you know a leader? You know a leader because a leader, when they cross the finish line, people cross the finish line with them. And it's not I won, it's we won. And that's what we'll teach this afternoon. We'll teach you about how to develop teams in such a way that you cross the finish line together. Because your success as a leader isn't determined on your success. You can be successful, not be a leader. Your success as a leader is determined upon other people's success. And level 2 leaders understand this. And level 2 leaders, they're highly relational. And they understand that they got to bring people with them. And because they're doing that, their people love them. Because they know their leader is sacrificing for them, and they know that their leader sometimes is waiting on them, and they know that their leader believes in them, and they know that their leader wants them to be successful. That's the connection. That's why people give you permission to lead them, because they like you, and you like them. That's why it's called their permission level. And they do 3 things well. They listen well, they observe well, and they serve well. That's a level 2 leader. Now let's go to a level 3 leader. But before I take you to level 3, let me just quickly ask you a question. Are you learning something? Are you learning something? Look at your neighbor and say, I'm learning something. Tell them that I'm learning something. Okay, look right back at your neighbor and say, not enough yet. Not enough yet. Okay? So let's go to level number 3. On level number 3 is the production level. And the key word at the production level is results. Here's what happens. At this level, people follow you because of what you have done for the organization. This is a whole new level of leading. You are a producer. Wow. You bring results to New Skin. You're $1 million earner. You're successful in this business. And people say, oh my gosh, I want to be on their team. I want to follow them because they're really good at this. And I want to be good. I want to be good at this. And this is a key level beyond. Let me just say something about leadership. The credibility of leadership is if the people like you. That's level number 2. The credibility of leadership isn't that people have to follow you. That's level number 1. Your credibility as a leader begins at level 3 because you are personally successful yourself. The only reason a person should follow you is because you're good. If you're good, they want to be on your team. And if you're not good, why would they want to be on your team? Why would somebody want to follow someone in this business that hasn't produced results? I can't imagine that. I mean, people want to be on the team of a winner. So, the credibility of you to lead people is that you're good yourself. Because the greatest leadership words ever spoken are these words. Follow me. Follow me. Watch me. Stay with me. Hang with me. Because a level 3 leader does 3 things really well. Just like a level 2 leader listens, observes, and serves really well. A level 3 leader, they do 3 things very well also. And you can become a level 3 leader when you consistently do these 3 things. And the first thing that level 3 leaders do extremely well is they lead by example. They understand that people do what people see. I'm asked all the time by leaders, how do I motivate people? Well, it's very simple. You motivate people by your example. If you're doing what you ask your people to do, they'll do it too. You'll motivate them. If you're not doing it, they won't be motivated. People do what people see. And what leaders understand is that people follow them because they're good. They're successful. You know, in the States, basketball is a big sport. And I know basketball is a big sport in a lot of Asian countries too. And there's a basketball player that's probably the best basketball player today in the world. Maybe not always, but today in the world, his name is LeBron James. He's a great basketball player. How many of you have heard of LeBron James? Raise your hand if you heard of LeBron James. Huh? Okay. If LeBron James and I were choosing teams to play a game of basketball, and you were going to be chosen, and you had the chance of being on LeBron James' team or to be on my team. One, two, three, four. Okay. You don't need the music. I talk. Okay. So here we go. So LeBron James is choosing you. You're just, you're up there. You're saying, oh, you're getting up there. I'm choosing. You want me to choose. And then when it comes my time to choose, you're going. Now, there's a simple reason. LeBron James is the greatest basketball player in the world. I'm not. And if you're going to get on a basketball team, you want to be on LeBron's team. You don't want to be on my team. If you're on my team, you're going to lose. If you're on LeBron's team, you're going to win. You say, well, what do I have to do to be on LeBron's team to win? Just throw the ball to LeBron. He'll do the rest. Now, when you're leading people, the more successful you are, the more people want to be on your team. There is a huge attraction when you're successful. Let me go back to some beginning teaching that I did this morning. Do you remember when I was teaching you the law of the lid? And I spoke to you about the fact that whatever your leadership level is, your organization will come right under, but never go higher than that level. So if you're a 5 as a leader, your organization is going to be a 4. It's not going to be a 6 or a 7 or 8. It can't be. Your leadership won't allow it to go any higher. Now, that's called the law of the lid. But let me just do a twist on this teaching. There's another law in the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership called the law of magnetism. And the law of magnetism says you attract who you are, not who you want. So you're going to attract the people based upon who you are. not who you are. I run into people all the time that say, I know what I want on my team. I want somebody who has a good attitude. I want somebody that's high energy and works hard. And they start giving me this list of what they want. And after they give me 3 or 4 things, I just stop them and I ask them, do you do that? Do you have a good attitude? Do you have high energy? Because you're not going to attract who you want. You're going to attract who you are. Now watch how this works. The higher you go as a leader, if you're a level 3 leader, guess who you're going to attract to your company? 3s, 2s, and 1s. If you're a level 5 leader, you're going to attract some 5s, 4s, and 3s. If you're a level 8 leader, you're going to attract some 8s, 7s. See, you attract who you are. So why this is so important is you need to be successful in this business because you never can lead other people to be successful if you're not successful. And so when people say, well, what's my first thing I ought to do in New Skin to really be a great leader? First thing, the reason I don't want to use this is I talk with my... Doesn't help you. Does that make sense to you? So they said they would fix this, but until they fix this, I'll use this. Okay? Now, people follow you because you're successful. So when people say, I want to be a leader, the first thing I say to them is be a producer before you're a leader. Because you're only going to lead people to the level of your production. And so if you're producing the level 2, if you let people, you'd only be leading level 2 people. But if you're producing the level 9, then all of a sudden you can lead people to a level 9. You can't lead people farther than you've been yourself. It's the law of the land, it's the law of magnetism. And so level 3 leader, they understand the power of example, and they understand what happens, what really happens when you lead people by example. People do what people see. So they got that, and they do that really well. So you got to ask yourself, how well am I doing in New Skin business? How well am I doing? Do I have the credibility to be a leader? They lead by example. Too many leaders are like travel agents. They send people where they've never been themselves. And I watch people try to lead that way all the time. They've never done it, but they're trying to teach other people how to do it. They're not, and by the way, listen to me. The issue as a leader is not have you done it. Hang on, leaders, listen, be careful. The issue is, are you doing it now? If you've just done it, you're no longer a leader, you're just a history teacher. One of the things I watch about leaders in direct marketing kind of businesses is that they achieve a certain level and they quit producing. They just kind of sit up there fat, dumb, and happy. And I'm just here to tell you, you can't lead out of yesterday. You got to lead out of today. You got to lead out of where you are right now, not where you've been, not what you've done. You got to lead on what you're doing and where you're going and what you're being right now as a person. Does that make sense? So I challenge every one of you that are successful in this business, are you successful because you did something yesterday, or are you successful because you're doing something today? Are you living off yesterday? By the way, let me tell you, in my office I have a sign that each one of you need to have in your office. You know what it says? Yesterday ended last night. Get over it. There's a whole bunch of people that are still living in yesterday. If you were successful yesterday, congratulations. I got a question. Are you successful now? And by the way, if you failed yesterday, it ended last night. Let it go. Don't let yesterday's failures to control today's actions. Yesterday ended last night. And leaders that are great level 4 leaders, they understand that they lead by example. They literally visually show everybody exactly how to lead. So you don't need to worry about how to lead. All you got to do is watch your leader. Watch your leader. Your leader's doing it. Follow that person. Okay. The second thing that leaders do really well at level number 4, they not only lead by example, but the second thing, they do this really well. They not only visually show leadership, because that's what leadership is. Leaders at level 3 create momentum. Momentum is a wonderful thing in a company. When an organization has momentum, I call momentum a leader's best friend. When you have momentum, it exaggerates everything in a positive way. Until, to be honest with you, people even think you're better than you are. And they're excited because everything is being exaggerated in a positive way. That's the value of momentum. In a moment, I'll teach you what the value of momentum is. But just as positive momentum just takes everything and elevates it and lifts it and exaggerates it in a positive way, the opposite is also true. Negative momentum, when things aren't going well, exaggerates everything in a negative way. So people think you're worse than you really are. Momentum is the great exaggerator. Positive, it makes things look better than they are. Negative, it makes things look worse than they are. But what momentum does more than anything else is it exaggerates the situation. And once you have momentum, once you have it, everything begins to be exaggerated in a positive way. And there's incredible power and there's incredible value to creating momentum. And the only people that create momentum are producers. Because momentum comes along with results. There's no such thing as poor results and high momentum. It's never happened. There's no such thing as a company doing very poorly and everybody excited about the company. There's no such thing about a team that loses every game and the players can hardly wait to collect it. Well, if you lose every game, the players will say, I'm sick today, you know what I mean? You play a while, you go. But what happens is, positive momentum. Leaders understand the value of momentum. And let me illustrate it like this. A train going down the track at 50 miles an hour. As that train's going down that track at 50 miles an hour, if there is a barrier on that track, a big, 5-foot thick concrete steel reinforced wall on that track, at 50 miles an hour, that train will hit that barrier and smash it and keep on going. Now, why was it able? You know how to do that with your mark. The mark says, so I would like that. That's good. Do you see how he makes you better all the time? Wow. If it wouldn't be for Mark, I'd simply do this. Okay, all right. Now that train going 55 miles an hour, what does it do? It smashes through that barrier and keeps on going. Now, how was it able to smash through that barrier and keep on going? It's very simple. It had momentum. Momentum allowed it to knock out that 5-foot thick concrete steel reinforced problem. Now, that same train stopped dead on the tracks. It's not going anywhere. No momentum. Stop dead. If you put a 1-inch block, 1 inch, in front of the driving wheels, that train can't even get started. 1 inch. That train can't even go. Now this is huge. This is teaching the power of momentum. When you have no momentum, when you have no momentum at all in your company or on your team, when you have no momentum, a 1-inch problem will keep you from getting started. 1 inch. If you've got momentum on your team, a 5-foot thick concrete steel reinforced wall can't stop your momentum. So momentum is the key. It's the greatest problem solver you have in your company is momentum. 80% of all the new skin problems can be solved by momentum. Not every problem, but 80%. Once you have momentum, you begin to problem solve like crazy. And level 3 leaders know that. So they create momentum, and guess what? When they create momentum, they have less problems. Why do they have less problems? Because they're knocking them down, they're knocking them down, they're knocking them down. And if you don't have any momentum, that 1-inch problem just keeps you from even getting started. My name's John, I'm your friend. And your problem isn't your problem. But the problem is, you think the problem is the problem. And because you think the problem is a problem, it becomes a problem, not because it's a problem. The problem is you just thought the problem was a problem, so the problem that wasn't a problem has now become a problem, not because it's a problem, but the problem was you didn't know the problem wasn't a problem, so the problem that wasn't a problem, how it has become a problem, and so you've got a real problem, and really you didn't have a problem at all. The problem wasn't the problem was you thought the problem was a problem, and so the problem that wasn't a problem has now become the problem. Melancholies, raise your hand and say, John, could you repeat that one more time? Level 3 leaders. Level 3 leaders understand that they've got to lead by example. And that by producing results, they create momentum. And by creating momentum, it allows them to go faster and farther and knock down their problems. And the third thing that level 3 leaders truly do well, and they do it really well, is they attract better people to them. They just attract better people. And they attract better people because they're better. Winners attract winners. Losers attract losers. We attract who we are, not who we want. Wow. That's a level 3 leader. Level 3 leader, they just lead by example. They create momentum. They attract better people. You can tell now why you need to be going up these levels of leadership. Why you don't want to be a level 1 leader. You want to keep climbing these levels. Because as you climb the levels of leadership, you become more effective, you become more influential, you become more successful. Let's go to level 4. Because level 4 is really what I strive to get you to go to. If I can get every one of you in this auditorium today to go to level number 4, New Skin will have by far its greatest year. Because a level 4 leader, now, this becomes amazing what happens at level 4. Level number 4 is the people development level. The key word is reproduction. And at level number 4, people follow you because of what you have done for them. Level 4, this is incredible. They follow you now because you have poured into their life and you have mentored them and you have reproduced yourself in them. That's why I call it the people level. That's why I call it reproduction. Now, here's the difference between level 3 and level 4. Is at level 3 when you produce, you add. But when you reproduce, you multiply. And trust me, the big success, the big win is in the multiplication. And the multiplication happens at level number 4. And this is why I want to get you there. I want to get you to level 4 because if I can get you here, I'm telling you, you will be huge success in this business. If you are a level 3 leader, you produce. That's a good thing. You attract some good people on your team. That's a good thing. But you don't multiply until you reproduce. So this level is all about how are you reproducing yourself? Who are you raising up to take your place? What kind of leaders are you raising up? Remember, at level 1, all you have is followers. By the time you're at level number 4, you're reproducing leaders. And when you reproduce leaders, it is a compounding, multiplying, high yield, high return game. And at level 4 leaders do 3 things really well. Grab this. I want you to get it. Every one of you can do this. But this level, you're going to have to work hard. This is going to take a while. This is not easy. But you can do this. Level 4 leaders do 3 things really, really well. Number 1, they recruit very well. They understand that all is well that begins well. And beginning well is all about recruiting well. Wow. I have a wonderful friend in the States. And he's a very successful coach, a very successful news commentator. now quite elderly. His name is Lou Holtz. And Lou Holtz and I were having lunch one day, and Lou said to me at lunch, "John, I've had good players, and I've had bad players. And I'm just a better coach with good players." And that's right. We're all better coaches with good players. And level 4 understand. They totally understand recruitment. And they understand how to recruit good people to their organization. So let me talk to you about recruitment for a moment. In recruiting people to your company, your new skin, you've got to have a very clear picture of who you're looking for. This is huge. You never recruit well until you see well the kind of person you want to have on your team. Let me illustrate. When I fly into cities sometimes, if I'm flying commercially, they have somebody to pick me up. In fact, when I came to Singapore, they had somebody to pick me up, okay? And the person picking me up, many times, they don't know who I am. They've never seen me. And so what they do is outside of the security area, they have a sign with my name on it, John Maxwell. And they got it up in the air, and when I get through security, they look for me. I got to find them. They're not finding me. They just got my name in here. They basically say, get off the plane, come through the security area, and find me. And you find me by looking up at my hand, and if your name's on it, come up and introduce yourself, and I got you. Now, they didn't find me, I found them. Okay? And a lot of people, when they're going to recruit leaders for their company, their organization, for their team, that's exactly what they do. They get a sign that says leaders. and they're walking around, they're holding a sign up all the time, leaders. And what they're doing is they're expecting leaders to find them. You know, and let me tell you something, leaders aren't going to find you because they're not looking for you. They don't need a job. They already have a job. They're already successful. You see, you got to understand about leaders. Leaders aren't hurting. Followers are hurting. Followers will find you. In fact, if a leader sees you, they're going to probably try to recruit you as much as you try to recruit them. But you've got to have a clear picture. So one person, they basically put up a leader, kind of a John Maxwell sign, and say, okay, John, find me and I'll take you where you need to go. That's the way most people try to recruit leaders. Now, there's another way. People sometimes when they come to the airport, they don't have a sign with my name on it. And yet when I come through, they find me. And they go right up to me and they say, hey, you're John Maxwell. I said, yeah. Who are you? Well, they give me their name. Have I ever met you? No, we don't know each other. Wow, we don't know each other. How did you find me? It's very simple. They have one of my books. And in the back of the book is my picture. Hopefully it's one of my newer ones. And they're doing this now. You're John Maxwell? Yes, I am. How do you know? Oh, it's very simple. I got your picture right here. Your picture. Got your picture. I know what you look like. So because I know what you look like, I know it when I see you. You don't know if you got it. If you don't know what you're looking for, you don't know if you saw it. And then I watch people all the time. They'll say, well, wow, I want to recruit leaders to my team. And I say, okay, that's a good thing. What's a leader look like? And they don't know what a leader looks like. They don't know what a leader looks like, but they want one. How do you know if you got one? How do you know you found one? You got to have a clear picture. And level 4 leaders, they understand exactly what they're looking for. They've got the characteristics. They got the values. They know what they're looking for. And they let a whole bunch of people pass it. They know what, because they know what they do. They know if they can find one leader out of the crowd, they'll be more successful than if they find the crowd. So level 4 leaders, they're really good at recruiting because they have a great picture of what does a leader look like. You want to get a picture of what a leader looks like. That's why you want to read leadership books. That's why you want to understand leadership. If you develop yourself as a leader, you know how to develop other people as a leader. If you got a picture of how you lead, you got a picture of how other people can lead. But you got to have a real clear picture. So when you're recruiting, you're just not. A lot of people when they go recruit, their only qualification is the person's living. Oh, are you breathing? Oh my gosh, you're breathing. Could you be on my team? That ain't gonna matter. You gotta get somebody more than alive. You gotta get somebody that has the characteristics and the qualifications and the values of a leader. And that comes by having a clear picture of what does a leader look like. The second thing that they do really well at level number 4, they not only recruit really well, the next thing they do really well is they position their people really well. And they position their people for success. They understand that getting the right person in the right place is highly significant to their success. So they're constantly asking themselves, where can I place this person on my team that will really help them win? They constantly talk about what is their strengths and what do they do really well. Now, I'm not doing much on this right now because this afternoon I'm going to talk to you about 5 questions you need to ask your team. Ask about your team to be a good leader of that team. So we're going to get on that a little bit later. So I'm not spending a lot of time there now because there's things I teach you this afternoon on developing other people well. They understand that placing the person in the right position will determine how successful they really will be. So they find the right person, but they find the right place to put that person. We've found good people before, but we've had to kind of move them around a little bit until we help find where their strengths were and what their giftedness was. Okay. The third thing, though, I want to really talk to you about, because this is huge for all of you. The third thing that level 4 leaders do real well is they equip their people really well. They know how to take people and put them on their team, and they know how to equip them. When I talk about equipping people, I'm talking about enabling people through teaching, training, example, to do what you do and do it well. So they not only can do a function, but they can do it very well. And how do you do that? How do you equip people? Now, I want you to know that I'm going to talk to you for the next 5 minutes about this. And what I'm going to teach you is life-changing. If you'll just do the 5 things I'm going to ask you to do, every one of you in this auditorium can become a very good equipper for Michigan. And by the way, you've got to become an equipper. If you can't equip people to do this stuff, you'll never be successful in this business. Because level 4 leaders, they empower people, they equip people, they reproduce people. It all is in equipping individuals. And there are 5 things that you have to do to equip people successfully. Now, before I give you these 5 things, look up at me for a moment. My name is John, and I'm your friend. And what I'm about to tell you can change your life. And what I'm about to tell you, I'm really good at this. I mean, really good. In fact, let me explain something to you. Look at me. I'm the best equipper you've ever seen. You have never seen anybody that has equipped as many people as I've equipped. In just one of my organizations, I've equipped through people, through working with others. I've equipped 6 million leaders in every country of the world. I have the only company in the world that has equipped leaders in every country of the world. Okay? So I got this equipping down. I'm really good at it. And the only reason I'm taking time to tell you I'm good at it is because when I give you these 5 steps, they're so simple. You're going to think, wow, is that all I've got to do to equip people? And it's all you've got to do to equip people if you can do 5 things. So let me see your hand. Let's get 5 fingers up there. Are you ready? I don't think you're ready. Are you ready? You're not ready. Are you ready? things. You do these 5 things, you will become very successful. You will become a level 4 leader. Step 1, I do it. The first step of equipping people is not equipping people. The first step in equipping people is doing it well yourself. Don't try to teach people to do things that you don't do well. Don't try to train people to do things that you're not successful in. Don't even try to equip people until you're successful yourself. I do it. We've already studied level 3 leaders. Visualization. Remember, leadership is visual. People do what people see. So, before you can ever equip somebody else to do something well, you have to do it well yourself. That's step 1. I do it. Step 2. I do it, and you are with me. This is a major step in commitment in equipping people. Because what this means is that you're never going to do this business alone again. Now, this is a major paradigm shift for some of you in this room. You say, John, what do you mean I don't do this business alone? What I mean is you don't do this business alone. What part of that don't you understand? You don't do it alone. You see, I have personally, forget anybody else, I have personally equipped, thousands of people. And one of my secrets is, I'm never alone. When I'm doing something, I have somebody with me at all times. Mark's with me. The reason he runs all 5 companies is he's with me. He's with me because every day I'm inputting into his life. I'm asking him questions. I'm serving him. We're interacting. We spent yesterday probably, I'm going to guess, a minimum of 3 hours yesterday just interacting. He can run my companies because he and I spent 3 hours together interacting. I don't need to. I have not done one email. I've not done one text. I haven't done one phone call since I've been gone. I don't do any of those things because I know how to equip people. But the key to equipping people is you have to have them with you. So how have I done that? It's very simple. When I'm equipping people, I equip a different person every day. So I have 7 people at a time. On Monday, I got Joe with me. On Tuesday, I got Sally with me. On Wednesday, I got Jack with me. I have somebody with me all the time. You say, John, what do you mean? You just have them with you all the time. What I mean, I have them with me all the time. What part of that do you not understand? Can I ask you, what part of that is difficult for you to comprehend? I don't do business alone. Because if I do it alone, I'm not training anybody. I'm not equipping anybody. I'm not teaching anybody. The only way I can equip you is to have you with me. So you can see it. So you can watch it. See, I do it and you're with me. Well, what am I doing? I'm doing the business that makes this company successful. Because there's a business that makes this company successful. There are things that you do daily that makes it successful. And you should not only do it daily, you ought to have somebody beside you who are watching you do it daily. I do it and you are with me. What am I doing? I'm showing you, I'm teaching you. I'm doing this and then you ask questions. We do it and you ask questions. I do this and we ask questions. I do this and you ask questions. And I'm just constantly mentoring and teaching you. And I keep you with me all the time. You say, well, John, that seems like that would be a nuisance to have somebody around you all the time. It is a nuisance to have somebody around you all the time. There is no such thing as a lone ranger that equips people. You got to have them with you. You got to have them beside you. The only reason you wouldn't have somebody beside you is you have nothing to teach. And if you have nothing to teach, what the heck are you doing? Get out of the business. So when you've got people with you, they're watching you do the plan, they're watching you share the product, they're watching you talk to people, they're watching you answer questions, they're with you, with you. They're with you. Never do business alone. Now, the second thing is what keeps people from being successful in equipment. Because they don't have people with them all the time. So they're not observing, they're not training, they're not teaching, they're not interacting, they're not connecting, they're not communicating those values and those principles that really work. So I do it, that's step one. I do it and you're with me, that's step number two. Step three is you do it and I'm with you. You do it and I'm with you. Now, I've handed the ball off to you. You've watched me do all the things necessary to make New Skin successful and build this business. And there comes a time after you've watched me and I've answered about 1,000 questions of yours, all of a sudden I hand you the ball and say, guess what? We're still together. But guess what? Now you're doing the presentations. And guess what? You're making the contacts. And guess what? You're setting up the appointments. And guess what? You're talking about the product. And I'm with you. And why am I with you? I'm going to coach you. I'm going to speak in your life. I'm going to say, oh, if you did this, it could be a little bit better. I'm going to tweak you. It's always an exciting time to hand the ball off to someone else, and to watch them, and to observe them, to teach them, and coach them, and tweak them, and now we're still dialoguing after we do something together. But now, you know, you're asking me questions. I'm saying, well, if you did this a little bit better, we can do this. Here, I want you to try this, but I'm still with you. We're together. Step one, I do it. Step two, I do it. You're with me. Step three, you do it. I'm with you. Step four, you do it. You do it. There comes a time when I look at you and I say, you don't need it. You got it. You know how to build this business. You do the things that make this business great. You don't need me to coach you. You already got the coaching. You don't need me to encourage you. You already got it. Hey, I now empower you. By the way, I don't empower you until I do the first three steps. Now, here's the problem. What I'm going to give you now is the secret sauce. Because what happens is, there are some companies, there are some organizations, they do these 4 steps. I do it, you're with me, you do it, I'm with you, you do it. They do these 4 steps, and they do it pretty well. But they never mushroom. They never go huge. Remember, in 16 years, starting with 2 people, my brother and me, in 16 years, we trained and equipped 6 million people in every country to do leadership. Starting with 2 people. You say, John, how did you do it? Step 5. Step 5 is the game changer. Once you understand step 5, and once you insist on step 5 in the equipping process, now New Skin takes off like it's never taken off, and now reproduces like it's never reproduced, until you can't even keep up with your growth. Step 5, you do it, and someone is with you. You have never equipped somebody until they've equipped somebody. So you don't stop at level 4, step 4. You insist that they turn around and they equip somebody. And the way that I do it is this. When I start training somebody, before I train them, I say, who are you going to train when I'm finished training you? And I never train them until they found the person they're going to train, because I'm not about to start a relationship that ends with a person. I only start relationships that end with people. I don't start relationships that end with a person. And step 5 is a relationship that ends with people, not a person. Now, they equip someone else, and they know that they've never been equipped until they can equip somebody else. The key to being equipped is that you equip others, and now you begin to reproduce, and now you begin to multiply, and now all of a sudden, this company really begins to take off. I do it, you're with me, you do it, I'm with you, you do it, and someone else is with you. That's how in 16 years, you train 6 billion leaders in every country of the world. If you will walk out of here and be committed to those 5 steps, and by the By the way, that second step, I equip you and you're with me. That's the hardest step. Most people don't discipline themselves intentionally to constantly have somebody beside them. They do it alone, they build their business alone, and they don't reproduce their business because no one got to watch them do it. But the moment that you have somebody alongside of you, everything changes, because my best producers are the ones who watch me produce. I taught them how to produce, I equipped them to produce, and now they reproduce and they reproduce. Level 4 leaders do those three things really well. They recruit well, they position well, and they equip well. And they do it every day. And by the way, in recruiting, have somebody with you. Show them how to recruit. What's that clear picture look like? Why is that person the one we're going after? Why are we intentionally looking for this kind of a person? Recruit them with somebody else with you. Equip them. Keep somebody with you all the time. That's a level 4 leader. Now, I want to get to level 5 with you, and level 5 I don't spend much time on at all, because if I can get you to do the first 4 levels well, if I can get you to take your position, the title, and make it a learning experience and practice leadership, if I can get you at level 2 to learn how to connect with people and walk alongside them to lead and not walk way in front of them, and if I can teach you at level 3 to produce yourself and be a results person until you have the credibility to lead others, and if I can teach you level 4, now you're taking people and you're training them. If I can teach you to do these 4 things well, level 5 happens to you automatic. At level number 5, it's the people development level. No. Oh, by the way, I'm pushing the wrong way. Please understand. The sound, this is not their fault. I'm just pushing off back. I'm a leader, so I have to push back, okay? Level number 5 is the pinnacle level. The key word is respect, and people follow you because of who you are and what you represent. At level 5, you become bigger than life because you have done so well with so many for so long, that all of a sudden the people begin to put you on level 5. They respect you, they honor you, they look up to you because you have proven and you have earned the right to be a level 5. Now let me take 3 minutes. Let me take 3 minutes and teach you a couple of things about the 5 levels that need to be taught before I take you to one other thing quickly before we break. I've got about 25 minutes left. So let me make sure I do this really well for you. The 5 levels of leadership says to you that you develop daily and you go from one step to another step. And it's a process. Leadership is a process. It's not a moment, it's not an event, it's a lifestyle. You do this daily. As you do this daily, you get better. Level 1 was given to you by New Skin when you joined the organization. Levels 2, 3, and 4 you earn. New Skin doesn't do this for you. If you go to level 2, it's because you connect with people and you relate to people. If you go to level 3, it's because you produce. If you go to level 4, it's because you reproduce. New Skin is the environment where you do this in, but you earn this. You do this on your, this is how you get from level, you do this on your own. Level 5, once you've done those first 4 levels for a long time, the people within New Skin will put you at level 5. This is a position. This is a place of honor and respect. Okay, now, let me tell you a couple of things about these levels. The first thing I want to tell you is this: that your leadership effectiveness of people will be based upon what level you're on with those people. So catch this. Not everybody is on the same level with you except level 1. On level 1, position, title, everybody on your team is on level 1. But not everybody goes to level 2. Not everybody relationally connects. So when you go to level, let's say you have 10 people at level 1. When you get to level 2, you maybe only have 8 people there that are relationally connected. When you get to level 3, where it's production, maybe only of those 8, you got 5 that produce. Of those 5 that produce, only 2 maybe reproduce. So the higher you go up the levels of leadership, the less people you have with you. Does that make sense? But the higher you go in the levels of leadership, the higher you go, the more effective you are with the people that are on those levels. So the 2 that are on level 4 with you, they'll give you a higher return than all the rest of the people. The 5 that are on level 3 with you, they'll give you a much higher return than the 3 that didn't go from, or the 5 that didn't go from level 1 to 2 to 3. So the people that are on those higher levels with you, that's where the return is. So you spend most of your time with the people that are at your highest level, not the people that are at your lowest level. The tendency for us to do is spend time with the people that are the most needy. You don't spend time with the people that are most needy, you spend time with the people that are most effective, that are the best. I'll teach you later today, if I have time, the 2080 principle, and I'll teach you and I'll flesh that out for you. But for now, just trust me on this. Not everybody's going to go up the levels with you, but the key to your success as a leader, this is what I want you to catch. The key to your success as a leader, since you know the 5 levels of leadership, is you get a game plan to take a person from level 1 to level 2. And you have a game plan to take you from level 2 to level 3. And a game plan to take you from level 3 to level 4. You find out what level they're on, and then you have a game plan to take you to the next level. If you have 10 people, and you take all 10 people and you raise them 1 level in 1 year, you will be hugely successful in this business. Now, I haven't had time to give you the game plan, but I haven't. And back again, somewhere in one of these auditoriums where my books are, there's a book called The 5 Levels of Leadership. Everything I taught you today, plus a whole bunch else, is in this book. And I would encourage you, get it, because in this book I teach you how to take yourself from one level to the next level, and I teach you how to take people from one level to the next level. Huge. It's essential as far as developing yourself and developing the people within you. One more thing. When you cast a vision in your company, you can have the same people on the same team, but they receive the message of the vision differently. And you ask yourself, how does that happen? How do we have 10 people, and I just gave the same vision, and some of them are all excited and somebody, and some of them quit? It's very simple. They respond to your vision based upon what level they're on with you. So that if they're on just level 1 and they're following you because they have to, and you say, well, if we're going to build this business, we're going to have to work hard, we're going to have to put in some extra time and effort. People on level 1, they're gone. They quit. They say, oh my gosh, I haven't had any proof that I had to work. Whoa, I'm out of here. People on level 3 and 4, commitment's easy for them. The higher the level that people are on, the higher their commitment to you. And the higher their commitment to you, the more they'll do to be successful. So your key is to get them up higher so they catch the vision quicker, they catch the vision better, they catch the vision more effectively, because people see you and they see their vision based upon what level you're on. Does that make sense to you? Now, I'm going to do, in 1 minute, I'm going to do some incredible teaching on how you can really develop yourself. But I want you to take the next minute and look at your notes, and I want to ask you one question. What's the most important thing I taught you about the 5 levels of leadership? I want you to scan your notes. I want you to figure out what the most important thing was. Put a little check mark there. I want to know, what's the most important thing that you learned in that? You've got 1 minute to just kind of evaluate, reflect for a second. What's the most important thing you learned about the 5 levels? And then I'm going to teach you something else that is life-changing for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then we'll break for our lunch time, okay? I picked out the most important thing I learned out of your 5 levels teaching today. And you raise your hand. How many got the most important thing? Oh, a lot. Oh, this is good. Okay. You have 1 more minute. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to turn to the person beside you, and I want you to share with each other. You only got 30 seconds each. What's the most important thing you learned on the 5 levels? Share right now. 1 minute. For 15 more minutes before we break. Are you okay? Huh? Hey, are you learning something? Okay. Because what I'm going to teach you now is essential to developing yourself as a leader. I want to talk to you now about becoming intentional in your life. I want to talk to you about intentional living. Living with a purpose. And the best way for me to visually help you understand what I'm about to teach you is to give you a visual. So just everybody take a moment and just look up at me and let's get started, okay? Everything worthwhile is uphill. Everything. Everything worthwhile in your life is an uphill journey. If you have great relationships in your life, it's because it was uphill all the way. If you've got a great marriage that's lasted, it's because it's uphill all the way. If you've been successful in business, it's uphill all the way. Can I tell you something? You can start naming things. I can promise you, everything worthwhile in your life, everything worthwhile in my life, it's uphill all the way. Nothing's easy. Nothing's fast. Nothing's simple. Everything worthwhile is uphill. Now here's the challenge that every leader faces, regardless of country, regardless of culture, regardless of business, it doesn't matter. Here's the challenge that every leader faces. Everything worthwhile is uphill. And here's the problem. Everybody has uphill dreams. But they have downhill habits. And you cannot go uphill with downhill habits. And every leader's challenge is to take people who have lived a life of downhill habits and help them get rid of those habits and teach them to take an uphill journey. And the only way that any of us can go uphill, the only way to go uphill is to be intentional. No one ever unintentionally went uphill. No one ever wrote a book on accidental achievements. No. Now, downhill stuff, you don't have to think about it. You don't have to work for it. You can be totally unintentional. You can go downhill every day. All you have to be is unintentional. But to go uphill, you've got to be intentional. And what does that mean, intentional living? What does intentional living mean? Let me give you 3 words that describe intentional living. Deliberate. That's a great word. Anybody that is going uphill, they have to deliberately, every day, intentionally go uphill. They have to say to themselves again today, it's uphill all the way. It's a great word. Deliberate. The second word that describes intentional living is consistent. You not only every day have to be deliberate and say, I've got to go uphill every day because everything is worthwhile, so I have to be intentional. I've got to go uphill today. I've got to go uphill today. You not only have to say that, and you've got to be consistent, because guess what? Nobody ever climbs the hill if they're inconsistent. You don't get to go 2 days uphill and then slide for 2 days. In fact, if you go uphill for 2 days and you slide for 2 days, when you're done sliding, you're farther downhill than you were when you started, because sliding is faster than climbing. So consistent is the key. It's every day. You say, well, John, every day seems like a lot. It is a lot. It's every day. Every day is every day. And the reason that most people never climb the hill, and the reason most people never have success, is not because it's not achievable. They don't have success because they won't do it consistently. Everybody is good for a day. Few people are good for every day. And it's the few people that are good for every day that get to the top of the hill. The people that are inconsistent, oh, I was good last week, so I take a break this week. Boy, I deserve a rest. My gosh, I've been working really hard. Woo, I think I want to take a little break. So you see, that inconsistency, all it does is it keeps you somewhere midway mountain. You never get to the top. You never get to the top until you understand every day means every day. And listen to me, I'm in my high 60s now. Listen to me carefully. Consistency compounds. It's huge. Once you understand the value of consistency, it compounds. When last year I was named the #1 leadership expert in the world by Inc. magazine. When the media began to ask me questions about that, and they said, John, what's the secret to getting to be #1? The only answer I had, it wasn't a great answer for them, but it was a great answer for me, is that I'm consistent. I'm just consistent. Guess what? I've been teaching leadership. I've been teaching leadership now for 40 years. For 40 years. I've been teaching leadership. Hello? This is an IQ test. Do it for 40 years. You see, here's the problem. Consistency isn't rewarded immediately. You don't get rewarded for being consistent for a week. You don't get a pin or a medal or a ribbon. Somebody walks on, hey, we want to give you an award here today. You have been consistent for 1 week. Whoa, you are something. No. Consistency doesn't show up in the beginning. It's not rewarded in the beginning. People overlook it in the beginning. But here's what's amazing. In the beginning, you weren't as bad as people thought you were. But if you're consistent, in the end, you're not as good as people think you are. Consistency compounds. Here I am. I'm lecturing to thousands of people in Singapore. What a privilege, what an honor to be here. Thank you, New Skin, for inviting me. I've had a wonderful time. I mean, you are beautiful, beautiful people. Here I am. What a beautiful time. What a beautiful people leaders. What good leaders you have. Yeah, great. Now, listen to me carefully. I've been sitting here and I've been teaching for over 2 hours. Got a cough drop in my mouth. Got a bottle of water right here. I'm as relaxed as can be. I'm not one bit nervous. I wasn't nervous backstage. People say, John, my gosh, how do you walk out here, sit on the stool, teach these lessons, walk around, drink your water, stick another cough drop in? How did you get so good? One word. Consistency. Consistency. I wasn't this good the first time I spoke. Listen to me. I love these people who are going to start something for the first time. So they say, I'm really working hard because I really want to do a good job the first time. I always want to look at them and say, don't work so hard. You won't do good the first time. Nobody does good the first time. Nobody does good. You don't do good the first time, folks. You just do it the first time to get good. You don't get good the first time. The first time you talked, you didn't speak in sentences. You just one day, as a little child, a little baby, you went, wah! Oh my gosh. Baby talk. Only the grandparents understood what they said. You didn't talk in sentences. You wah! When you walked, you didn't get up one day and say, let's go take a walk. You took a step and fell down. You took a step and fell down. You took a step and fell down. Nobody's good the first time. You see, you got to do it the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, the sixth time. You just got to keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. Because that's the only way that you get good. Consistency compounds. It takes a long time to get good. Why? Because everything worthwhile is uphill. And anybody that tells you that success comes quickly and easily is lying to you. It doesn't, it hasn't, it never will be. If you want to be successful in this business, it's not easy. It's uphill all the way. It's uphill all the way. The people who are at the front here, they didn't accidentally get here. They didn't win the lottery and get this seat. It's uphill all the way. And the only way you get uphill is to consistently climb uphill. So people say, John, how are you so relaxed when you teach? You just let the stuff flow from you. It's very simple. My name's John, I'm your friend. Let me in on the secret. I have spoken 12,000 times. That wears me out. Just thinking about 12,000 times. I'm smoking. Let me explain this. If you have spoken 12,000 times and you're not any good, come on now. You're in the wrong profession. Talk to me. I've done this 12,000 times. People say, John, you can just teach leadership. It just keeps coming out. How does it just flow from you? Just these thoughts, these ideas, this amazing. How do you get it? I've been teaching leadership for 40 years. 40 years. The problem with too many of you want to be good for a month and get rewarded for it. And you're not going to get rewarded for a month. And you're not going to get rewarded for a year. Oh, you may get little pins along the way. But let me tell you something. The people that achieve great things, they achieve great things because they are consistent all the way. Deliberate, consistent, willful. People that are highly successful and live an intentional life, they choose this life. It's not an accident. It wasn't some lucky draw. It wasn't something that befell. No. They made a choice. Listen to me carefully. Most people, they don't lead their life. Most people accept their life. And when you accept your life, you get what life wants to give to you. It's only when you're intentional that you begin to choose the things that will help you to go uphill all the way. So you need to be intentional in certain areas. Let me just give it to you quickly. Some of them I'll knock out this afternoon for you. But let me just give you a kind of a profile, because some of them I won't knock out to you. But if you're in this business, if you're going to be successful with New Skin, there are some things you had better be intentional in every day, and you had better be doing it every day. I'll teach you this afternoon. Mark, don't let me forget. I'm going to teach you this afternoon the rule of 5. Okay, just don't let me forget it. That'll change your life. Listen carefully. There are certain things you need to do every day to climb that hill. You need to be intentional about your personal growth and development. Trust me. You will never succeed in this business or any other business if you are not intentional every day in your personal growth and development. You better be intentional in your attitude. Attitude is a choice. It is not what happens to you, it is what happens in you. Counts. And adversity is not your problem, but a bad attitude about adversity is your problem. And your attitude is the difference maker. It's not everything, but it's the main thing. And you need to be intentional in choosing the right attitude that allow you to be successful in this business. And one of the attitudes that you need to choose is that failure is not your enemy. I need to talk to you about that this afternoon. I got to come back to that. That's the second thing, Mark. Make sure I talk about the rule of five, and I got to talk to him about failure, because in this kind of a business, there's sometimes really a wrong concept about failure. I got to help people understand how to fail forward and how to succeed through failure. But you got to be intentional in your attitude. You got to be intentional in your purpose. Your purpose is what gives you energy. The energy that you have is not based upon the fact that you are born a high energy person or a low energy person. The energy you have is based upon what is your purpose in life. I'm here in Singapore, not because I'm a high energy person. I'm here in Singapore because I have a high purpose. And that is to teach people how to lead and add value to them, because that will help you be successful in life. It's my purpose that gives me that energy. It's my purpose that keeps me anchored. It's my purpose that allows me to stay focused and on task. You need to be intentional in what is your purpose in life. You need to be intentional in your relationships. You need to be intentional in how you connect with people, because you're in a people business. And if you fail the relationship test, you fail the new skin test. You can't succeed in this business and not be likable. You can't succeed in this business and not like people. So you've got to be intentional in how you learn relationships, because you and I, in our life, the successes in our life will point back to the people in our life, and the failures in our life will point back to the people in our life. And you've got to be relational. You've got to understand how to develop great relationships, and you have to be intentional in your significance. I want to do significance, and I don't want to do the other two. Okay? Significance is all about others. Significance is learning to live a life beyond yourself. You become successful if you mature correctly to be significant. Many people, they stop at success. It's all about them, what they've achieved, how much money they made. Significance is all about others. What am I doing to add value to others? And I'm going to talk to you about that. I'm going to talk about how do you add value to your team? How do you help everybody else around you be successful? And I just wrap it up by saying, again, wherever the books are, my book, Intentional Living. You want to talk about now, everything I know all the way, that book is there, Intentional Living. I just tell you those resources, because if you get those resources, you start applying and read those resources, it can change your life. Okay, you've been wonderful. You've given me 2 hours, 22 minutes with me, and I've loved every moment of it. You're a beautiful crowd.